Deborah, it is officially fall, and we are all excited about it. I feel as though we spend the majority of this podcast talking about how excited we are for fall. So there is no better way than to keep celebrating fall than to talk about hypothetical fall things that we will never do, but would do because it's fall.
Like what?
I love that you ask. I have a list, an entire list of things that are fall related that I want to go over with you, and you tell me if you would be interested in them or not, and expand upon it,
Okay.
Because just yes or no answers isn't going to make for a fun segment. You good?
I'm good.
Attend a fall festival? I think of fall festival as like the Jesse Beck Elementary School Scarecrow Contest.
Oh, that would be great. But you need to explain that to people.
The elementary school that I went to, which is in walking distance of our home, has every class, first grade through sixth grade, and each grade has 3 classes in it. So a total of 18 classes.
When you were there, that's what it was.
True.
Yeah.
They are all commissioned to make a scarecrow of their choosing. It can be themed, it can be traditional, it can be whatever you want it to be. And then on the Friday before Halloween, typically, they let school out about an hour early. All the scarecrows are hoisted up with poles. There are old school games that everybody plays that have been the exact same since before I even went there.
Bales of hay everywhere.
And you have raffles and you have cotton candy and the kids play and you can look at the scarecrows and then people vote on them. And it is just like old school, wholesome family fun.
And usually it's right after school.
Yep.
So sometimes junior high kids will come back to see their teachers.
Yep.
And everybody's well behaved. There's never trouble.
No gangland violence.
No gangland violence. But all the parents show up, moms and dads.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're all there like at 3:00 that Friday afternoon. It makes a ton of money for the school.
Yeah.
It's a fundraiser.
They gouge you on everything.
They gouge you on everything.
As they should.
Tickets. They sell tickets,
Yeah.
yep. And the news station comes, usually every year, one of the news, and reports on it. So it is really just... You're right. It's old-fashioned games. It's an old-fashioned cotton candy machine. It's not the thing where you just buy cotton candy in a bag. I mean, they take
they make it for you.
They take that, yeah.
It's that old-fashioned machine-made cotton candy.
Exactly.
Would you have a fall photo shoot?
But wait, I want to tell one thing about the Jesse Beck deal.
Deb, we have a cold open to get through and 55 potential fall festivities.
Okay, I'll save it. Go ahead.
No, go for it.
No.
It's super important now. Go for it.
So
this is the mood she's in right now.
The year that I was there.
This is the mood she's in.
The year that I started out there, they sold these, and they are the most delicious little pumpkin cookies in the world.
Oh, the sugar cookies.
It's a shortbread cookie with like this.
Is it shortbread? I think shortbread is crunchier than these. These are soft.
These are so good. It's a pumpkin cookie, and then it's decorated with buttercream orange frosting with candy corn face on it. So when I was there,
candy corn eyes,
2 women, because they only had 2 cookie cutters, 2 women made over 3,000 cookies. It was insane. And so I said,
you had a radical idea.
What if we just buy more cookie cutters? And everybody makes them, which I want to say there was some opposition to that. It was a crazy political thing. Actually, they said we could only do it if I found the exact pumpkin cookie cutters. I went to the local restaurant Supply, bought 30 of them, came back, gave the recipe to the world. And from then on out, tons of moms made all the cookies and we sold them all. And when we were not gluten-free then, and we used to buy lots of cookies and bring them home.
Does that sound like Deb to anybody?
I don't know. It was like a business deal to me.
Hey, Deb, would you have a fall photo shoot?
Well, we did. We have a super cute one.
Yeah.
Oh, you should post. You hate that picture though, don't you?
It is not my favorite photo. I feel like I look particularly evil in that photo. I feel like there's a sinister smile behind my face.
So there's the picture where you're sitting alone on the porch.
That's the one.
I adore that photo.
Well, because the aesthetic of it, there's a bale of hay, there's pumpkins, there's our old front porch, which the paint is kind of chipping away on it. It's 1,000% fall vibes. And I'm wearing like
there's a scarecrow in it too.
A black mock turtleneck with a bowl cut staring at the camera.
You've got a big smile on your face.
Yeah, a smile that says I'm going to light your house on fire.
But the picture that's terrible is the 3 of us. I mean, it's pretty good of Dad and I, but you did something like with 5 double chins, pulled your face back.
Look at Deb fat shaming her son.
was not fat shaming you. You were not, it didn't even have an ounce of fat on you, but you wouldn't sit still and, yes, exactly. You wouldn't make
There's
it
also
nice.
a photo of me in my Little League picture. I did the exact same thing. I felt that tucking my chin in and smiling really big was a cool look. Hey, Deb, would you make caramel apples?
Yes, for sure. And we have.
Would you, I don't, see, there are things on this list that you could do at any point in time in the year, like go to a petting zoo. I'm not going to go to a petting zoo just because it's fall.
But I don't think we're really petting zoo people, are we?
I mean, I'll pet an animal.
I just don't know if I'll go to the zoo to do it.
Would you go to a haunted house?
Okay, so I have mixed feelings about haunted houses.
Okay.
Haunted houses, the ones that I've been to in years gone by, didn't really scare me all that much.
Oh, there are some big ones now.
But now I understand people like have heart attacks and die.
You have to sign certain waivers for some places.
So I don't know if that's a good idea. Isn't there a middle of the road haunted house?
No, I don't think that's nearly as fun as potentially dying. That's a real,
I don't know if I want to do that.
it's a real haunted house.
Yeah.
Would you host a murder mystery party?
Probably not.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, I would go to one. I don't know if I would host one.
Would you drive and enjoy the fall foliage?
Oh, for sure.
Especially if you live back east. Shout out everybody who lives back east. Jealous of you right now. This, I guess, can kind of be a fall thing. Would you host a pie bake-off?
That would actually be kind of fun. And we have been known with our friends to do competitive cooking. So that's not that far from normal.
No, I think that's well within the realm of normal. Would you carve a pumpkin?
Of course. And we have carved many.
Absolutely. Would you visit a pumpkin patch?
Yep. And
Do we have pumpkin patches around here?
So there used to be, when you were really little, an actual pumpkin patch. The way it works now is, and I think every town has these. I mean, I would love it if there were like a local farm we could go to that grew pumpkins. But there are these places where, I'm just going to say, they're weird empty lots, and they come in.
Oh,
and
like a Christmas tree lot?
Bales of hay everywhere, and 10 million pumpkins are scattered around.
It's not really the same.
I
as
don't
a
think we've
pumpkin
really
patch.
done that. But I have, like in New York, I did pumpkin patch. We did pumpkin patch up in Seattle before we moved here. Yeah, I would do pumpkin patch.
Would you decorate the front porch?
We have.
Would you do a DIY fall themed wreath?
Sure. Well, maybe.
You're not really a DIY person.
Not really a crafty. I'm not very crafty.
You like to find a good deal at like Michael's or Joann's.
No, I don't go to Michael's or Joann's. I would find that good deal like at TJ Maxx.
Fair.
Yeah.
Would you do a corn maze?
Nope. Well, I mean, would I go participate in it?
No, I don't mean like make a corn maze, of course.
For sure. No, but
you don't have a backyard full of corn to make a maze.
Here's what I want to know on the corn maze. Is the corn maze like the haunted house? Is it treacherous?
No, I think you enter at one point with the belief that you're going to leave at the other, and it's just up to you to navigate it. I don't think there's anything that's going to stab you or cause deaths anywhere in the corn maze.
I can like scoot between corn rows if I want to.
You know what I never understood about people getting lost in corn mazes? Just walk through the corn.
That's what I say. Just walk through the corn.
Just walk
Push your way through
the corn.
I agree.
That's not a big deal.
And as long as I can hear other people, I'd be totally fine.
For sure. If you've been in there for 5 hours, call
That's a
somebody. Would you roast pumpkin seeds?
I have.
We used to do that, I feel like,
We
a
did
lot
that
when I was a kid.
When you were little, we totally saved the pumpkin seeds and roasted them.
They were delicious too, by the way.
Yeah.
Super, super good. Here's a really controversial activity right now. Would you go apple picking?
Oh, I think I have. But we have an apple tree in our backyard.
We have no apples.
Not this year, we don't. It's the weirdest thing ever.
People either love apple picking or despise it. And it's usually an activity that like newer couples do to show how great they are and how in love they are. I, for one, don't understand paying $25 to go pick your own apples when you can go to the store and buy apples for a fraction of the cost.
Or in a normal year, just come over to our house and pick apples.
Or have to wait in line to go do manual labor, which you oftentimes have to do.
So here's where it is. What's the name of that place that everybody goes to? It's on Highway 50.
Apple Hill.
Apple Hill. Thank you. So Apple Hill, there's like a whole thing. There's a morning, like a little 3K race or something. And then it's like, there's cold pressed apple cider, then there's hot apple cider, then there's apple butter, there's apple, apple carameled apples, there's pick your own apples, and all the things that go. So that's kind of a combination of everything you've mentioned. There's carameled apples. It's a festival.
So you're saying if you want to check the list of everything in a
Yes.
single day, you go apple picking.
Go to Apple Hill in California and go do that.
Would you create a fall tablescape?
Sure, I do.
Now, this is different than a corn maze. Would you go on a hay ride?
Sure, and I have.
When have you gone on a hay ride?
I've gone on a hay ride like when I was in high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Definitely not any time I was around.
No.
Yeah, that didn't sound right to me when
No,
you said
it was
that.
like definitely, I think, I want to say like my era kind of thing.
We don't really do this, but I would happily do it. Would you go buy some fresh apple cider and sip on it throughout the holiday?
You know, the reason we don't do that
Why?
is
Is it a familial thing? Is it a religious thing?
no.
Okay.
I don't know what age it was exactly, but you at some young, very, very, very young age, highly protested apple juice.
Oh, really?
And it was no longer allowed 100%. Like, I don't want it. I hate it. And so when apple cider came around, which I would say to you, I'll put cinnamon sticks and I'll do this. And you were like, no. I mean, you switched to cranberry juice and that was it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is apple cider apple juice?
Apple cider is not apple juice. It's
What is
cider.
What is that? Oh, because it's boozy.
It's not boozy, but it is like fermented like cider.
But the fermentation causes alcohol, yeah?
Yeah, but I don't think there is in the stuff that you get in the grocery store. It's not like hard cider, like the cider you're thinking of.
And here's the last one. And I'm going to tell you this. If you say yes to this, I have no earthly idea who you are. You're not my
Okay, good.
mother
I'm going
anymore.
to say yes for sure.
Would you collect and paint acorns?
Okay, so I don't think I would collect acorns.
Do acorns exist around here?
Yeah, you know, an acorn. Oh, are they talking about little baby acorns like the nuts?
The picture I'm seeing are acorns that are painted fall colors.
Okay, like never. But the one thing that I might collect, and I have done for the tablescape, I've gotten like acorn squash and gourds and things like that and lay them down the center of the table with little baby pumpkins. But that's not acorns. Like a little...
No, I mean like real little acorns.
I don't even know where they are. Where are they? Are they here? They're not here.
That's why if you would have said yes to this, I would have called
It's
yes.
like chestnuts roasting by the open fire. We don't roast chestnuts on the West Coast.
I don't know what a chestnut is.
It's a big thing. It's a big... like...
Nut?
No, it's like a big nut, yes. And it's like brown with a little kind of creamy spot on it.
I don't
Look it
believe you. Last one.
Okay.
Would you Deb, today, you yourself, not did you,
Okay.
would you?
I?
Would you jump into a big pile of leaves?
That's mean. That is so mean. I mean...
It's not mean. I just want to know if you would do it.
No. That is so mean because you know if I jumped in, I'd say, "Help me out!
Can't get out!
I can't get out!
Roll out, Deb. You need to roll
I
out.
don't like you anymore.
Let's start the podcast.
Welcome to the Deb and Kev podcast. One is a Harvard Business School alum. The other is her son, discussing business, pop culture, family, and everything in between. Now, here are your hosts, Deb and Kev.
Hey, hi, hello, and welcome to the Deb and Kev podcast. Across from me is the bloodthirsty Michael of this show. It's my mom, Deb.
I'm Deb.
And that makes me Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh, no, I want to be Jamie Lee Curtis.
I'm her son, Kev, and this is our podcast. On today's show, it's week 3 in the tent, and we will recap all the happenings of the Great British Bake Off. Then we will press on to Deb's business segment, where she'll tell us that we only need to look at our personal relationships to help develop our professional ones. And as a little spooktacular event for her, we'll have Deb play Use It in a Sentence. And like a spring roll at a 5-star Vietnamese restaurant, we'll wrap this episode up with what we are thankful for and what's for dinner. But first, I had a listener reach out, Nicole W., shout out Nicole W., and she said, I have a conspiracy theory for you as it relates to Jeopardy. And I said, go on. And she said this. She said, what if the current champion, the current 34-day champion of Jeopardy,
Is his name Michael?
Mike Amodio,
Mike Amodio.
what if he is a plant to take all of the attention and all of the focus off the inner turmoil of Jeopardy? And so now everybody's only talking about Mike Amodio. And I thought, that makes sense. And then I kept thinking that makes sense for multiple reasons. One, because what better than to usher in the Mike Richards era than having rigged the game so that more people are watching, so that he can look at everybody and be like, see, our numbers are huge. They're all Mike related.
Oh, you think Mike Richards planted Mike Amodio?
He could have, and then had everybody sign off on it. But now nobody can back out of it.
And the kid is smart.
And then I watch Mike Amodio, and if anybody watches Jeopardy, you'll know this. He rings in, and half the time he looks horribly confused. Like no earthly idea what he's about to say. And then all of a sudden, he's got the answer and it spits it out. I'm not saying anybody's feeding him the answers. I'm not saying there's an earpiece in his ear, but it makes 1,000% sense that after the year that Jeopardy has had, which has not been great, and all the turmoil that they have had, and all of the pitfalls that they've made, that they would say, let's forget all about this and celebrate one of the best champions that has ever appeared on Jeopardy. Oh, by the way, we've manufactured all of it.
Oh my gosh, would that be disappointing?
It would be horribly disappointing.
It would break my heart. I don't know if I could watch Jeopardy after that, honestly. I will say, remember that Mike Richards had said he wanted people to dress better and he wanted them better looking, and, you know, things like that. I do believe if you go back and see the very beginning of Mike Amodio, all of his shirts were kind of too big for him and it looked like kind of like he was wearing his dad's stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And ever since Mike Richards, because he had to come back for that one stint, Mike Amodio's shirts fit. There was a matching tie. Everything was well coordinated. So I do feel like Mike Richards got a hold of him. But hey, nonetheless, this kid is going to end up with, I mean, I think he's at $1.3 million right now.
Yeah, I think he's a little over that. And if you guys are saying at home, Kevin, that can't possibly be true. Why would anybody want to rig a quiz show? There is a literal movie called Quiz Show based on events that happened like in the 50s or 60s about them rigging a show because they wanted a champion. They wanted to drive up ratings, and they kept feeding this guy answers prior to the tapings. So it's happened before. There is experience in rigging quiz shows.
But how could it happen in Hollywood, the most just and fair of all places?
Clearly. All right, let's go to the place we all love, over to jolly old England, into the tent. Deborah.
Yes.
On to more pressing matters of the professional world. You are going to talk to us about not overthinking professional relationships, because all one person actually needs to do is look at their personal relationships to better understand how to forge meaningful, long-lasting, trustworthy professional relationships. And that makes sense to me because I can't really segment my brain to operate one way and not operate another way. So if we can somehow combine the two, that makes a big dumb head like me at least understand the professional world a little better.
Okay, can I use you for like my little subject matter?
I wish you would.
Okay, so Kevin, let's just pretend that you had a really successful dating relationship.
Hold on, let me get into character.
Okay. Got it?
Got it.
Okay, so tell me the things that in this really successful relationship, 4 or 5 things, really as many as you like, that you believe would contribute to creating a successful relationship, things you could consciously do where you would say to somebody, look, I know these things work. What would they be with this girlfriend that you don't have?
Open communication.
And let's just drill down in that a little bit.
Meaning we talk openly and freely about subject matter that we just enjoy conversing about, but that we also maybe see some issues coming that we address prior to any emotion being put behind it. And we can come to non-emotional agreements about how to manage something.
Nice. Like that.
I would say that we would enjoy spending time with one another. If you live with somebody, if you're in a relationship with somebody, the expectation is that you're going to be with that person more often than not. And so I would want to make sure that the time we spend with each other, we actually enjoy, but that we are trying to always not keep it fresh or new, but never have it be stagnant.
Okay. What else?
I have to come up with 3 more?
Just a couple more.
Oh my God.
Couple more.
This is a Kevin thing. I like surprises. I like to give surprises. I like to receive surprises. I think that adds a nice shock to any relationship, whether that be intimate or friend. I enjoy that kind of stuff. And most people would say, well, I don't know that I like surprises, but every time somebody gets a surprise in my world, they tend to like it.
They tend to like it. And in fact, anybody out there, if you want to send Kevin anything, it doesn't matter as long as it's a surprise.
Yep.
It will make him so happy.
Okay, what else goes into a good relationship?
What about just, let me give you a little hint.
Sure.
What about just totally thinking of them? Let's look at
putting them and their needs first sometimes, right? Is that the belief? That's fair. Again, that's not where my brain went to, which probably speaks volumes about me as a partner. But yeah, I would imagine that if somebody's going through a hard time, if somebody needs some help, if somebody needs you to kind of pick up the reins and help them through a tough time, that is something that a partner should be able and willing to do.
Okay, so if we take those things, and I might ask you to
I only
remind
made 4.
4 is good.
Okay, thank
4
God.
is good for now. So if we think about things, one of the differences between employer and employees versus just our other relationships is that there is this sense of power, meaning the employer has the power, obviously, to fire us, right? But I also have the power to quit. I mean, don't forget that I have power,
of course,
right? And I think sometimes we forget about the power of the employee. We only think of it in terms of like nefarious terms if they're going to do something bad. But, the employer can fire me, I can quit, right?
Yep.
The employer can take an interest in me, I can take an interest in them. The employer can encourage open communication. I also, as an employee, can encourage. It doesn't have to start on one side or the other. It really is chicken and egg thing.
Yeah.
Now, we don't know that the employer is always going to be receptive. We don't know that the employee is always going to be receptive to open communication. But here's the thing. If we take the things that you applied and said, hey, open communication is a thing. I'm looking down the road and I see the potential for a difficulty there. Let's talk about it now before it becomes personal or emotional. And so let's lay down the ground rules. So if you were dating a girl, and this is I'm just kind of a ground rule, if you will. If you were dating a girl and you were like, look, I don't think I want kids. I mean, that's a huge thing. Better to say that in the beginning, right?
Sure.
I mean, better to say those words.
It's easy to back off that stance than to bring it forward later on.
Exactly. So that would be an important thing if you honestly felt like that. So in work, we have the same kind of thing. If I am really, really strict about, this is the time that you work and this is when your vacation is and blah, lay it out in the beginning. Be as truthful as you can to show who you really are. Don't let me come in and take a job where it's kind of been misrepresented, right? Mm-hmm. I think the part where thinking of the other people, sometimes we don't think about that. I mean, I do think that sometimes business owners will say, hey, let's go have lunch. I'll order lunch in, or let's all go for a mani-pedi if it were women, right? Something like that. But, and the guys enjoy mani-pedis, I guess, as well.
I sure do.
But here's the thing on that. If the mani-pedi really isn't meaningful to the group, let's not do it. Let's find something that's meaningful to the group, which brings us to you really have to get outside of yourself and understand what they might like to do, right? What they would really enjoy.
For sure.
They might want to go to a fall festival or an apple picking thing, okay? So I think that we think employee-employer relationships are somehow so much more difficult. But I think they become difficult because we don't pay attention to them the way we pay attention to our personal relationships. Now, do I think I should be heavily intrusive and personal with an employee? Not necessarily, but gosh, I want to know if they're married. I want to know if they have kids. I want to know if their kid did something great. Do you know what I mean? At school or, in sports or whatever their activities. I mean, if somebody's mother is ill with a very serious disease, I want to know that. I don't know that I can do anything about it the way I would if I were their partner or their sister or some other personal relationship. but I want to at least know so I can have some consciousness about it, be sympathetic, ask them about it periodically, right? To hopefully give them the space where they feel like they still want to come to work because we care, if that makes sense.
And what would you say to the person who's listening right now being like, oh, you know, if I'm going to err on one side, I'm going to err more on the arm's length distance as opposed to the more intimate relationship, because it's easier if something goes sour. It's easier if somebody drops the ball to be a little more cold in that capacity than having already established a friendship or a relationship.
The thing about that is I think that person isn't really willing to do the work, because just like our relationships in real life require a lot of work if they're going to be healthy. I mean, you ask anybody that's been married for a long period of time, and the one thing they say is it's a lot of work. I mean, which doesn't mean that it's not a lot of joy as well, but it is a lot of work. You know, getting along, even in a work environment, is a lot of work, but it doesn't mean we don't do it. The better I can understand you. Now, just because I know that your mother is having some difficulty with some kind of disease doesn't mean I can give you every afternoon off. I mean,
Fair.
That's where the work thing comes in, right? Can my work, in some cases yes, in some cases no, can my work afford to give you an excessive amount of time off due to this thing that's going on in your life? I would say as human beings, we would all love to do that for somebody. Your issue, which is your issue if you're the employee, is whether or not you need that money and can afford to not work, right? Under those circumstances. And my issue as the employer is that if I really need somebody in the office or in the building or in wherever to show up during that time, then I have to weigh and measure that. But also that's a conversation where you can say to somebody, listen, this thing with your mother is killing me. I mean, like I want to help carry the burden of that. Here's the place I can do it, and here's the place I can't. So if I can this would not be beyond me as a boss. If I could make or arrange for food to be dropped off at someone's house once a week for a while, and that made all the difference in their lives, I'd do it in a heartbeat for an employee. I mean, no question asked. If I could afford to get them some extra care and support to get in there to give the family some relief, I would do it in a heartbeat, whatever I could do. If I could let the employee have some of the time off, and I'm not talking about bereavement, I'm just talking about caretaking here, and give them that space and keep their job open. If I could, I would, but that's where it gets precarious because we can't always do that. And so that's where people get it mixed up like it's just business. I could be your best friend. And in fact, I'll speak to this. When my friend Deb was, I'm going to say her last 12 days of life, we thought it was going to be longer than that. I mean, I was there morning, noon, and night. And I remember saying to Dad, I can't do this forever every day. I mean, I'm working. I wanted nothing more than to just be there with her and support Alyssa and support the family. But had that gone on for months and months and months, the truth of the matter is they would have seen me less, right? Because I couldn't have done everything like that. So really the answer is communicate about it, be sensitive to somebody going through those things, help where we can, and then really be clear where the boundaries are.
And I would say that it's unique to every person, right? There are some people who are going to happily let you into their life in some way. It's up to you to be able to kind of relegate how far you go in, because some people will let you all the way into the house, right?
Right.
And for other people, they're going to say, hey, I really only want to know you between the hours of 9 and 5. Thanks for all the nice stuff that you do between the hours of 9 and 5, but I don't need a relationship with you outside of this. I have my friends and family that I love to death and don't need to add you into this. Let's just keep it right where it is. So I feel like that could be daunting to some employers or some managers to really register who's willing to concede what in regards to this professional relationship that I'm also trying to establish some personal boundaries to as well.
Well, so if somebody, here's the only thing that I think happens. I think it'd be very difficult. We're using the example, but we could actually use a good example. Somebody could have a baby, which is a completely joyous event, and then be coming back to work after 3 months, right? And I'm not even talking about postpartum. I'm just talking about a mom being like feeling guilty that she's leaving her child at home, feeling guilty that she put her child in daycare. Really having some moments. And let's face it, at 3 months, hormones are still raging. I think when you come back to work, if that mom needed/wanted to work, and needed could be nothing to do with money, meaning she needed to, for herself, she needed to work, but she still has these conflicted feelings about her child. If she shows up at work and all in all, she's just the regular person she already was, and was terrific to work with and had a good work ethic and positive personality. And now some of her conversation includes her child. That's great. There's not a lot I need to know about her, right? But if she's suffering to some degree and can't put on that face as she did before, or seems to be, I'm just going to say, impacting the environment or the ambiance of work with a little bit of sadness or negativity, then you've got to share. That's when you've got to share so we can help, right?
Yep.
And that I just think human to human, that's what we do. We want to help. Now, do I want to be her therapist? No. Do I want to tell her to go to therapy? No. Do I want to be her coach? Not necessarily. But what can we do to help her through that transition? And a lot of times in work, there's some simple stuff you can do. That she loves to do this or that. So maybe I can heap some of that on, and I know that will lift her spirits. And I know maybe she doesn't like so much to do this or this. And if I want to on occasion, I can say something like, hey, it's 3:00 in the afternoon. You normally work till 5. I know that the baby is getting up from its nap. Go home, pick the baby up, enjoy the rest of your evening. We can do things like that as employers as well. Now, I know people that work for enormous size companies are going to say those kind of things never happen, but I have worked for very large companies, and I will say, I know those things can happen within departments, with good bosses, with good employees who are willing to be open and honest with each other. I think the biggest problem is all parties have to agree, and this is the same in a personal relationship, that we're not going to let our issues turn into drama.
Isn't that really what everybody's goal in life is?
Exactly.
To not have drama? Well,
except there's so many people that seem to like it.
Yeah, that's what everybody says.
Right.
I would say really only about 30% of the world actually wants that.
Right. I agree
a lack
with
of
that.
drama.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. But now if you're talking about layering drama over this, then it's a whole different thing, right? But I'm just talking about relating to people the way we would in our personal life. A lot is transferable to our professional life as well.
I get it. I think one of the toughest things to do, and I can remember when I entered the workforce, saying to myself, these are your work counterparts. They do not blend into your real life. And then, within 2 weeks, you're hanging out with your coworkers.
Well, there's
right?
always someone you like in the whole group.
For sure.
And if I look at your life, well, mine too, but I can go through all the different places I've worked, and there's a friend, and there's a friend. There aren't 15 of them, but for you, the TV station, Parker, you loved him. Do you know what I mean? You two watched football the other night. You're great friends. Yeah, it's a very sensitive relationship. It has to be nurtured. And if there's an authority figure involved in one aspect of it, it's even more touchy. But it can certainly be accomplished if you're putting the outcome of the business at the front of it, meaning I want to establish this relationship so that it's better for everybody in totality, meaning I'm going to abide by the boundaries they put up for me, but I want to make sure that they understand that they have an advocate in me who is interested in their life as far as they let me be there. Well, and I know people are probably thinking, yeah, but there's rules and guidelines with business, and there are, and those are to protect people. For sure, those rules and guidelines are there. But, truth be told, there are also rules and guidelines in our personal relationships. They're just not always litigious, right? So should we hit people? Nope, we shouldn't. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's just a bad thing. Should we be screaming and cursing people out? Nope, we shouldn't. It's a bad thing. I mean, so if you really go through it and just say, hey, I mean, like, I could get fired for this, or a boss said I could get sued for this. I mean, the same stuff exists in our personal relationships. Probably, I mean, I guess you could get arrested for hitting somebody for sure.
Yeah.
Probably not for yelling at them. But, I mean, the same kind of rules exist. They're just applied differently.
Love it. Think it's great. Don't overthink it.
Don't overthink it.
Be a good person, forge relationships, have healthy boundaries, just like you would in real life.
Care about your community. Care about the people around you.
All right, Deborah, it's been a while since we've used it in a sentence. Do you need any refreshers? Do we need to establish this game for anybody who hasn't listened before?
I know how it works. Are we using Halloween words?
We are not.
Doing?
We are still using millennial Gen Z words. And what we are going to do, if you have forgotten or unfamiliar, is I will present the word or phrase to Deb. Deb will then try to deduce the meaning of the word or phrase properly while infusing it into a sentence. By sentence, I mean essay. Deb will have a verbal essay that she will then insert the word into, and we will then decide as a single entity, me, whether or not she used it correctly.
I will stare at Kevin and talk until I think I might be getting there.
I'll say this. I think you have a good shot of getting 3 right.
Oh, good.
I think there's a good shot of you getting 3 correct.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you. There are 5.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you which ones I think you're going to get correct, but I do believe you have a good opportunity to walk away a winner. And what does she win? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Pride. Deb, use take several seats in a sentence.
Take several seats?
Take several seats. I'll happily spell it for you.
Well, SEATS seats?
Correct.
Take several seats. So, like, can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's 3 words.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's
2
not
spaces.
a noun.
Sure, it would be, but here's the problem. I feel like when you ask me that question, it's a phrase. So if I was to give you a hint to the phrase, I'm giving you a hint on how to use it in the upcoming sentence, which I don't want to do. So I'm not going to tell you anything.
Okay.
Take several seats.
So I was at my girlfriend's birthday party.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And it was super, super fun.
Many people?
Lots of people.
Oh, love that.
And it was time for the cake to come. And so everybody's, the candles were on it. It was a beautiful 3-layer cake. Everybody sang happy birthday. It was decorated fabulously. And so what happened is originally, like, one of the caterer people started cutting the cake and cut them in normal slices.
Absolutely.
The caterer person stepped away for a second. And another friend of ours popped up and said, I'll cut it. And she started cutting it in enormous slices.
Okay.
And it was clear there wasn't going to be enough for everybody if she kept doing it.
Okay.
And I said to my other girlfriend, I leaned in and I said, look at the way she's cutting the cake. And she said, oh, we're not going to get any, right?
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, take several seats.
I would say that you were on the right path, and then you took a hard 90-degree turn.
I meant, like, the cake was too big. It was too much.
If someone is being extremely annoying, prior to this, you would tell them to, like, Deb, take a seat. But they're so annoying, they need to take several seats. You were.
I was so close.
You were so close.
I was so close.
You were so close. But to be fair, I in no way thought you were going to get this one. But you were close.
Okay.
So you're
counts.
heating up.
Okay.
Deb.
Ugh.
Use dank in a sentence.
Dank.
DANK. Dank.
So.
Okay. Right into it. I love when you get right into it.
Yeah. I was in New York City.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Love New York City.
Who doesn't?
And I was on Fifth Avenue.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Saks Fifth Avenue?
Well, the street that those stores are on.
Asphalt.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. And I was walking around and I was really thinking, like, oh my gosh, there are a lot of beautiful people here in and out of these stores. And this is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, New York really is different than Reno, Nevada, for sure.
Absolutely.
Okay? And then all of a sudden, there was a guy, and I don't think he was homeless. I just think he didn't care.
Oh, okay.
Love
that.
Pretty dirty.
Oh, okay.
I want to say kind of moist. I mean, like he looked like he had been wet, kind of. It was weird. And like he'd gotten caught in a sprinkler.
And here's what everybody needs to know about New York City, rampant sprinklers all over the streets.
Central Park.
All over the streets.
I mean, it was just all weird. He was kind of dirty and forlorn, but it wasn't like a homeless thing. Because if you looked at his wet clothes, the clothes would have been, okay had they not been wet and musty.
Okay.
And so all of a sudden I saw him turn down the alley, and I turned and I said to my girlfriend, I think if he were just dry, he wouldn't be so dank.
You went pretty literal with that word dank. and again, these are slang terms used by generations years below you.
Okay.
You did not. You went literal.
Did you? Is that one of the ones you thought I was going to get?
I kind of thought you were going to get this one because I didn't think you would assume that a 17-year-old would use the word dank in the correct way, which is how you used it.
Okay, so go.
Dank means excellent or very high quality. So you were close if you would have stayed on Fifth Avenue, and had you entered Gucci, you could have looked at one of the purses and said, oh my gosh, this is a dank ass purse.
So they've actually completely changed the meaning of dank.
I feel like you've never played this game before.
And I had to go say the word moist.
You said it. Nobody made you say anything. That was entirely up to yourself.
I can't use the word. Would you use the word dank?
Here's the problem with all of these words that we say on use it in a sentence. When I say it out loud, I think to myself, there's no way I could ever say that at 37 years old. And then slowly I have things enter my vernacular where I say it way more often than I ever thought I would.
Do you say Gucci?
Of course.
Do you say guap?
No.
Okay.
But dank feels a little more rough and tumble than I would be used to.
Okay.
Over 2. Deb, use pick me boy / girl in a sentence. Pick me boy or pick me girl in a sentence.
Pick me boy?
Yep. Pick me boy, pick me girl in a sentence.
So.
And the hint is always, don't go literal.
Okay.
Slang terms.
Okay. So, I was out with 2 girlfriends.
Oh, nice. What were their names?
Linda.
Okay.
And Beth.
Linda and Beth.
And so we were like going to a club, but we didn't really, it was just like to listen to music. And I don't know why we thought we were going to visit there, but we were there. Okay.
Got it.
So there was there were some women in like one of those round booths, next to us.
Yep.
And they were just begging for attention.
Oh, okay.
In fact, you could say they were thirsty.
Wow. Good recall to former podcasts.
Yeah, they were thirsty. And I said, this is ridiculous. Look at them at their age behaving like this. This is just crazy. And Beth and Linda were just horrified by it. I mean, loud, obnoxious, really just, drawing attention to themselves. And I said, there's one thing of like really, hoping that people will notice you. And then there's whole pick me boy. That's ridiculous.
A guy or girl who uses self-deprecation in a manipulative way, so a guy or girl will date them. They will say bad things about themselves to try to get the significant other to oppose what they've said.
I feel like I kind of got there, not really.
We'll give you a half point.
Okay, give me a half
point
there.
Deb, use meet cute in a sentence. MEET space CUTE.
Oh,
meet cute. What's a meet cute?
So, I'm on a dating site.
Okay.
Swipe left, swipe right.
Swipe left, swipe right.
Yeah. And there was a guy that winked or waved at me, whatever it is they do. Okay. And so I decided to wait until I had an accumulation of some winks and waves. Is that
on the app? Oh,
yeah, on the app.
Okay.
On the app.
I mean, yeah, just likes. They liked you. You matched.
Yeah. And so then I go back. Yeah.
Hi. I'm Brandon. Hi.
Stop. Kill me if I ever have to go on a dating app.
Same.
So, I can't get this one out.
Yes, you can. You're closer than you've been on any of the other ones.
God.
You're closer than you've been on any of the other ones. Sorry, I shouldn't have thrust Brandon into the conversation. That's on me.
That was
bad. It was the idea that some guy's just digitally waving to you. I would love that to pop up. Hi.
So I had not responded to the wave. I just kind of collected them. So I had a little gallery of men here.
Entire library of men waving at you. Hi, it's me, Daryl.
I'm begging you, stop.
From Incline.
Kevin.
Sorry, keep going.
I mean it. Listen to me.
It's all you.
Oh. So Brandon.
Okay, yep.
Brandon says, after he waves, hey, would you like to get a cup of coffee sometime?
Nice.
And I said, oh, that would be, super exciting.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, meet cute.
Like a declarative statement?
No, not exactly.
A meet cute is when a future couple meets for the first time.
There you go. I hit it on the ballpark. Oh, my Lord.
Well, all right, Deb, last one. Let's see if we can get through this guy. Deborah, tell me, what is a situationship in a sentence?
Situationship?
Situationship.
Okay, so, I can just tell you what this says.
Okay.
Okay, so when you have a situation, you know what I'm talking about.
Not
right?
to be confused with the situation from
not that
Jersey
guy
Shore.
from Jersey Shore.
A situation.
When you have a situation. So you would say, like, almost over a loudspeaker, we have a situation.
We have a situation.
It's a situation within a relationship. It's a situation with a significant other.
So you're with somebody in a romantic relationship, and then you have a situation.
And it's a situationship.
This was the one I thought you were going to nail, and you did not.
Oh, what is it?
Situationship is the belief that you will just chill and be confused with somebody else without ever defining your relationship with them. You have emotions. You don't really share them with each other. You're not together, but you happen to be in a situationship with one another.
First of all, that doesn't even sound like something I would enjoy.
Well, nobody asked, hey, Deb, let's play the game. Would you enjoy this? It's called
That is
Use It in a Sentence.
There shouldn't even be a title for
In
what
theory,
you just defined.
your meet cute could lead to a
My
situationship
meet
with
cute.
Brandon.
No, I don't want a situationship.
Hi, I'm Greg. Want a situationship? Okay. Well, this went about as well as I expected. Deborah, as we wind this podcast down, we try to gather our thoughts. You want to talk about dinner?
I will talk about dinner.
Hit it.
So I saw this on Instagram.
Love it.
It's called, I think, Firecracker Salmon.
Oh, I've heard of that before.
And so I think it's like spicy, got a little kick.
Ooh,
It's
heck yeah.
Cut in pieces. And it might be, if I remember right, I bought everything, but I don't remember the exact recipe. Little pieces might be wrapped in rice paper. So there's some little thing going on with that. We'll take
We'll have
pictures.
to trim the rice paper, though. Like, how big are they? Are they like an inch by an inch?
They look to maybe a little bigger than a bite. Bigger than a bite, like maybe 2 by 2.
But square.
Square.
And wrapped?
Well, I don't really know because it said when I went and bought the ingredients, I needed rice paper.
Oh, interesting.
But I need green onion too. But when I saw like the girl on Instagram eating it, she was eating like a bite of a thing.
But it was wrapped.
Sometimes rice paper doesn't show.
I mean, rice paper is pretty thick.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm all for it. Listen, we fried rice paper before and it was delicious, and I'm all about
it. Was fabulous. But if you haven't fried rice paper, it's amazing.
I'm all about spicy salmon, so hook me up.
It made me feel like it was kind of healthy.
Sure.
I mean, there is the frying thing, but it made me feel like it was kind of healthy. We haven't had salmon for a while, and I thought, fun new way to eat it.
Love it. Deborah, if that works out well, that might be my thankful for next week. It sounds so delicious. Tell me what your thankful is for this week.
I am really, really thankful for this last weekend I had.
Okay.
It was amazing.
Okay.
I went to a surprise wedding.
I feel like we're still in Use It in a Sentence.
What do you mean?
The way you're talking, I feel like we're still in using it.
Oh, like I'm making it up?
Yeah, I'm waiting for you for the punchline here.
No, I'm very, very grateful that I got to get out of San Francisco quickly, get to New York City in time to literally, you know how there are surprise birthday parties?
I'm aware.
This was a surprise wedding, and it was, and you know our deal, if we can go to interesting weddings anywhere on the planet, please invite us. But this was a surprise wedding. Super exciting, super fun.
I'm thankful this week for two things. I have two things I'm thankful for this week. I love that. You don't know this, but Deborah, we are filming our 52nd YouTube episode, which means we have done this for a year.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. And what I'm thankful for the tens of people who have watched our 52 episodes, thank you to each and every one of you.
Thank you.
17 of you. You have been wonderful. But the thing that is probably more important is I don't know how I would have come up with content for our social feeds had we not started filming these podcasts. It would have been horrible. And I will say this, the fact that I'm able to take these full-blown episodes and shrink them down into minute-long clips for Instagram and Facebook, man, I laugh at them and I know everything in them, and you laugh at them and you know everything in them. And then when other people laugh at them, it just makes me feel like we at least know we're on the right path.
Well, I had said to you, and this is kind of fun because I had said at one time, do we really need to keep filming them for the 17 people that are watching?
Yeah.
Because if you would see us film on a Thursday, we look a little different than we do.
Clearly.
Well, at least I do for sure. But you said, Mom, it's my content.
Totally.
It's the funniest thing. So, and I want to say, well, I don't appreciate sitting here with a camera on me the entire time. I see the things you pull out completely out of context, and they always make me laugh.
Yeah, they're very, very funny. Yeah. And then my other thankful is early last week, we were just talking about death and religion, and you're like, well, what do you think happens when you die? And I really tried to put this conversation together in my head, and it ended with you saying, Kevin, I don't want to believe that I'm just going to be worm food. I don't want to believe that I'm just going to be sustenance for a tree. And I was like, wow, I really botched my description of what I think happens when we die, because I had this like really philosophical thing in my head, and it just did not come out the way I wanted it to. But then you and I were watching a show, and one of the main characters is dying in the show, and it flashes back to her having a conversation with somebody else. And the monologue she says is the most perfect, succinct version of what was running through my head. And if you'll allow me, I'm going to read some of it.
Oh, wow.
And if you get bored, I apologize. But when she was saying it, I was so engrossed while she was saying it that I scoured the internet for the monologue because it just resonated with me altogether. And this is in no way saying that I don't believe in religion or don't believe in other people's religion or think that this is the right and true way. This is how I feel about the question you asked me about what happens after we die. Okay. I remember I am energy, not memory, not self. My name, my personality, my choices all came after me. I was before them and I will be after, and everything else is pictures picked up along the way. Fleeting little dreamlets printed on the tissue of my dying brain, and I am the lightning that jumps between. I am the energy firing the neurons, and I am returning. Just by remembering, I'm returning home, and it's like a drop of water falling back into the ocean of which it's always been a part. All things a part. You, me, my mother, my father, everyone who's ever been, every plant, every animal, every atom, every start, every galaxy, all of it. More galaxies in the universe than grains of sand on the beach. And that's what we're talking about when we say God, the cosmos and its infinite dreams. We are the cosmos beneath dreaming of itself. It's simply a dream that I think is my life every time. But I'll forget this. I always do. I always forget my dreams. But now, in this split second, in the moment I remember, the instant I remember, I comprehend everything at once. There is no time. There is no death. Life is a dream. It's a wish made again and again and again and again and again and again and on into eternity. And I, all of it, I am everything. I am all. I am that I am.
When I heard the monologue the first time,
Yep.
I was mesmerized with her presentation of it. And I believe I said to you when I stood up, incredible monologue.
Totally.
So thank you for resharing that, because I loved it the first time, love it even more the second time. And I do think it encompasses so much of what I can be comfortable with, for sure.
Good.
So what a great way to bring it into the podcast, Kevin. I love it.
Yeah. I mean,
are we going to tell people what show it's from?
oh yeah. Well, I did say the actress ends up dying. I don't want to spoil it for anybody.
Still a good show.
It's a very good show. Midnight Mass on Netflix. You should watch it. It's a very thought-provoking show, and it's told in a very slow burn of a way, and there are some certainly extreme moments to it, but you can apply a lot of your own filters to it and have it make meaning for yourself.
It's not a children's show.
It is in no way a children's show. You got anything else?
I'm good.
Me too. That's going to do it for this Monday episode of the Deb and Kev podcast. Remember to like, rate, and review wherever you listen to this podcast. And why don't you guys hop on over to the YouTube channel and watch our 1 year anniversary? Just search at Deb and Kev Pod. And then you can follow us on all of our other social channels at Deb and Kev Pod. That would be wonderful. If we could get the likes up to 30.
There we go.
30 views, 30 likes.
30 views,
That's
30
all
likes.
I ask. Mom, I love you to death.
I love you, baby.
We'll see you guys on Thursday.
Thank you for listening to the Deb and Kev podcast. Remember to like and subscribe wherever you listen to this podcast. Follow Deb and Kev on Facebook and on Instagram and Twitter at Deb and Kev Pod.